evacuation in Bedford County. The incident involved a tractor-trailer damaging a 1,000-gallon underground propane tank, prompting emergency response from multiple fire departments. Police are identifying two men who were shot and killed on the Old Dominion University campus earlier this week. Investigators say that 18-year-old Delano Vick and 20-year-old Timothy Williams Jr. were shot on Wednesday night near the Broderick Dining Commons. The two men died after they were taken to the hospital. Police say no one involved in the shooting is associated with the university. No arrests have been announced. From the Virginia Talk Radio Network, I'm Bill Trefiro.
Carry towards ACO.
This is JR from the JR Sport Brief with a Sports Minute sponsored by AutoZone. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Saquon Barkley got himself a 2-year contract extension with the Eagles after winning the Super Bowl, and he will now be the highest paid running back ever. Now, all you other loser teams, don't get any ideas. Paying a star running back on a bad team is like hanging a fancy chandelier when your pipes need to be fixed. Focus on the basics first. I'm JR from the JR Sport Brief Show.
That was sped up.
While retinitis pigmentosa takes Mark's vision, his family gives him hope, whether at the family business or at home with his wife and sons. He knows he's not fighting alone. For 50 years, the Foundation Fighting Blindness has funded research into treatments and cures for blinding retinal diseases, providing hope to people with vision loss. And for Mark, winning the fight means being there for his family. The Foundation Fighting Blindness. Together, we're winning. Help us end blinding diseases at fightingblindness.org.
Spring is finally here, and so are spring projects. So get them started at Harbor Freight's parking lot sale this weekend. Save on products like pressure washers for $69.99, 42-inch roller cabinets for under $500, plus 30% off Hercules corded power tools. Whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight. Valid until 3/9/25 while supplies last. Limitations apply, so spring in before.
Good morning.
Time to get ready for your day with the morning warm-up with Trey Lyle. Join us live on VTRN Sports 93.3 FM or the VTRN Sports app. Open VTRN Sports on your smart speaker or stream live on YouTube. Time to get ready for your day with the morning warm-up with Trey Lyle and Ty Tracy.
What a start. 7:03. As I start with a coughing fit here on the morning warm-up. Philip Doss running the board today.
Yo.
Ty is here. TJ is here. God, we have a full house. Okay. No fast lane today. So full house, So everywhere you look. Do you get that reference, Philip?
Oh, what?
Everywhere you look.
Full house theme song. Oh, everywhere. Okay.
You look.
It's been a while. Great show.
Hard. Somebody who needs. We don't need, y'all don't need to hear me singing to start the show. So busy show today. Very busy show. We are going to have Bryson Gordon at 7:20 earlier than he is usually, because we're going to end the show with the legend, the man, the myth, the legend, Evan Hughes, the voice of Virginia Tech women's basketball and Virginia Tech baseball, which you're going to hear plenty over the next couple of days because we have plenty of games, including today, right here on VTRN Sports. 2:30 airtime. We will have Norfolk State at Virginia Tech. In baseball, we also have, so he's staying busy because he also has the ACC tournament on the women's side starting tomorrow. He's going to be on the air at 1:00, and I'm assuming, because it won't be on, I'm telling you right now, TJ's about to go to the ACC tournament, and he's going to learn this. So when it's been to the ACC tournament, nothing is on time, just because they can never time out the games right. So busy show. Let's get to In Case You Missed It. Then we get to Today in Sports History. Then we'll get to Bryson. Then we'll get to Evan. So we might not talk as much, dive into Carolina's drubbing of Virginia Tech, and then Virginia getting a nice win against Florida State last night. And we'll also look eventually, probably tomorrow, at the scenarios for the ACC tournament where those teams line in if they can get that, I guess you want to call it coveted single bye, but let's dive right into the latest headline. Before we get to scores, a couple latest headlines. In the ACC, it was officially announced that this settlement between AC, Florida State, and Clemson has been agreed to with the new deal. We kind of explained it yesterday, but the biggest thing is the exit fee is expected to drop by $18 million each year through 2029 through 2030, and the fee drops to $75 million. I think I mentioned this yesterday. $75 million by any exiting team will retain its media rights after 2030, aka the death of the ACC will probably be in 2030 when the Big Ten deal is up. Just saying. Speaking of money, the guy who got paid was Saquon Barkley, or AKA
Saquon Barkley.
He was rewarded with a 2-year, $41.2 million contract extension, makes him the highest paid running back in the NFL. This deal makes Barkley the first $20 million running back. Barkley also has the ability to earn an additional $15 million in incentives and escalators. The deal includes $36 million fully guaranteed in signing. So
Saquon Barkley. I swear Saquon Barkley is the best. We survived the Giants, and now the Eagles got Saquon Barkley.
Will be an Eagle for quite some time. And the Eagles lowered his cap number for this year. So the Eagles, being the standard in the NFL, still doing creative salary cap gymnastics because they have to keep Zach Bond, either Milton Williams or Josh Sweat. And obviously, free agency is right around the corner in that one. All right. So I'm going to tie this together. So looking at scores last night, I'm going to start with a game that ended last. 136-115. The Lakers beat the Pelicans. LeBron gets 34, 8, and 6. Former Duke Blue Devil Zion Williamson 37-6. Nice night for Zion. But why do I mention LeBron's score? Well, his first basket, he ended up becoming the first player to score 50,000 points in a career. I think we're getting to a point where the argument is getting stupid between him and Jordan because statistically it's no match. And I know LeBron has played longer, but let's be real here. Why do I mention the Lakers have won 7 straight? Well, the other side of that trade, I mentioned this yesterday, if you know a Mavs fan, hug them. Hug them today. Just give them a big old hug.
Sad times.
Because Shams Charania and the team announced that Kyrie Irving tore his ACL and him being 32. I mean, that you could argue I don't know if Anthony Davis is going to come back this season. Maybe they luck into a top 10 pick, but in a deep draft. But man, just hug him as man. Other scores across the association: Pacers 115, Rockets 102, Magic fall to the Raptors as Jacoby Walter hits a final second shot to get the Raptors over the Magic. Bucks 127, Hawks 121, Warriors 114, Knicks 102. Steph goes for 28, 7, and 9. So really good. Cavs continue to roll 139, 117. T-Bulls beat the Sixers 126 to 112. Leading scorer for the Minnesota Timberwolves was former Virginia Tech Hokie Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who scores 20 in that one. Spurs 127, Nets 113, and Suns beat the Clippers 119, 117. As for men's college hoops, look at the top 25. We did have a big upset last night. Former Virginia Tech head coach, I guess I have to mention that, Buzz Williams, and Texas A&M defeats number 1 Auburn 83-72, meaning it is all likelihood that the number 1 team in the country heading into the ACC tournament will be the Duke Blue Devils. If, and I think it's a big if because it's Duke Carolina, if they beat Carolina on Saturday. So A&M wins 83-72 and a pretty nice win for Texas A&M. They bounced back after losing, I believe it was like 5 straight. Granted, it was against a lot of good teams. Number 23 BYU beats Iowa State 88-85. Number 16 Memphis beats UTSA 75-70. And Purdue beats Rutgers. This is 18 Purdue 171. Kentucky beats LSU 95-64. Number 24 Arizona beats their rival Arizona State 113-100. Texas upsets. I really don't think it's an upset in the SEC. Number 25 Mississippi State 87-82. And the game you could have heard last night right here on VTRN Sports was, of course, Oregon and Indiana. Oregon gets the win 73-64. As for the Atlantic Coast Conference, as we mentioned, another game you could have heard last night was the drubbing by North Carolina, 91-59. Hokies did have a lead at one point in this game. They led 23-21 with 7:44 left. And then Tar Heels go on a 25-6 run at halftime and just blew the game open. Carolina shoots 59%, including 54% from three, including hitting 15 threes. We kind of talked about it yesterday. Carolina Tech reached their ceiling. Carolina is the way more desperate team trying to make the NCAA tournament. They get the win. Georgia Tech beats Miami 89-74. Miami is about to finish with 2 conference wins, maybe 3 if they win on Saturday, but I'm guessing they're not. Virginia 60, Florida State 57. Nice win from Virginia in that one. A couple late threes by the Cavaliers to get that done. And then SMU beat Syracuse 77-75. So you look at it right now in the Atlantic Coast Conference, Hokies and Wahoos both sit at 8-11 on the season, dead set in the middle. So we may have a real shot. I think the 8-9 matchup right now is Georgia Tech, Virginia, and in the ACC tournament. If I can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes. So Virginia Tech now moves to the 10 seed. So they will be. Yes, they would have. So it would be. They would now have to play. No, it would be 7-10. So I'm good. I can remember the ACC tournament bracket. So looking to get that single bye is both Virginia and Virginia Tech. Virginia takes on Syracuse on Saturday, and then Virginia Tech. Well, good news for them. They take on the number 11 Clemson in a very tough game. We'll pick that on Friday, but my guess is I will go with Clemson. So that is everything you missed yesterday in terms of the latest headlines. Now, time for a very interesting today in sports history.
Let's do it.
Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala, up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James.
Many doubted we'd ever see it. But here it is. The return to glory.
It's time for Today in Sports History.
Seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable.
They go length of the court with Archie Diacono. 3 seconds at midcourt. Jenkins gives it to Jenkins for the championship.
Let's hear what Ty really knows about what happened on this day in sports history.
Well, it's actually going to be Philip, but still.
Good shot.
Do you know that song?
We are.
Good job. Do you know each moment I picked?
About almost all of them, yeah.
All right, so because it was blocked by James
and the
Tiger winning the Masters, and then the Miracle on Ice.
Okay.
And then it's the Villanova game winner,
okay.
which under the greatest shot. I know we're getting off track, and we'll put this in today's probably will be a question. The greatest shot to me, nothing, is the Marcus Page 3 right before it.
Honest.
The greatest shot. He double clutches in the air, shoots it, and makes it, and to tie the game, and then obviously go on to lose by honestly one of the craziest games I've ever seen. I will shout out, speaking of North Carolina, in 1977, North Carolina beat Virginia in the 24th edition of the ACC men's basketball tournament, 75-69. That's not today's question. So it's actually 2. I'm going to give you 2.
Okay.
In 2004, these 2 teams combined for an NHL record 419 penalty minutes, with this team setting a single team mark with 213. So if you just guessed one of the 2 teams. There are 5 consecutive brawls in the final 2 minutes, including one involving both goalies. Do you want to guess the 2 teams?
Yes. Wait.
What you got to guess the 2 teams. So you
I was getting options. Oh.
I'll say this: one is a Canadian team, and one is a team from a very popular city. TJ is running in here.
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
feel like the team in NHL that fights more than anybody is the Boston Bruins. Is that one of the answers?
No, the Bruins did have the previous record, actually.
Is it
okay.
Pittsburgh by chance?
No, but you're close with Pittsburgh for one of the cities. That's your hint. It's another hint. So if it's not Pittsburgh,
The Flyers, the Philadelphia Flyers.
Yes.
There you
All right,
go.
so we're halfway there. Now you have a Canadian team. So it's
Ooh.
the Vancouver Canucks, Montreal Canadiens, Calgary Flames, Winnipeg was the team then, or the Ottawa Senators. So you have a 1 in 4 chance of getting this. Because I'm assuming, Philip, you don't know much hockey.
Let me go Vancouver.
Incorrect. It was the Ottawa Senators.
Oh, okay.
The Flyers beat the Senators 5-3. All right. So now you need to name this team. In 2016, after Clemson beat them 65-50, it completed a winless regular season in ACC play. They went 0-18, and they are the first men's team to go winless in their conference regular season since Maryland did it in 2004. What was worse is they became the first team to not win first ACC team to not win in both win a game in both football and men's basketball, going 0-8 in league play in football.
In the ACC.
In the ACC. I will give you a hint. Virginia Tech has had a house of horrors at this place. Of recent note. TJ may have just said it and was wrong. He just said the school and was wrong. That it is that school.
Boston College?
Yes, it's Boston College. They went 0-18. They were 7-24 in the year and 0-8 in football.
Sheesh. What a year.
So there you go. How about that? All right. But the most notable thing about this is we need to go to break. Bryson's about to join us. The most interesting thing in 1973, and there's no added context from this, New York Yankees pitchers Fritz Peterson and Mikey Keich, Keikich, announced that they've swapped wives and children. What? Like, and I'm a Yankees fan. I didn't know this. I really wanted to use that one.
Interesting.
Another question I thought about, but you would never know these team names. In 1931 was the first broadcast live on radio of a professional basketball game. The Brooklyn Visitations beat the Fort Wayne Hoosiers 14-10. Again, was 20. Yeah, basketball got so much better than the 1930s.
Yeah.
14-10, that's a football score.
I don't want to see the players on that roster. Sheesh.
So I'm kind of shocked at what transpired. But yeah, there you go. Today in sports history. You did pretty good. You did better than I thought. Today was a rough pick.
Yeah, I need to up my knowledge on hockey a little bit in mid-2000s college sports.
Yale got their first tournament bid in 2016 on this date since 1962. So hockey's hard. Like you could do Mike Bossy in 1985. Mike Bossy, the Islander, scored his 50th goal, becoming the first NHL player to score 50 goals in 8 consecutive seasons. That also happened on today. And then, if you know who Scott Hamilton is he's basically done every figure skating broadcast. He did both, like in my childhood. I didn't watch figure skating, but I just recognized the voice. He won a men's title in world figure skating in 1981. So, but that's So it's not a lot happened on March 5th. Just saying. But yeah. So big takeaways from this is
Shayshawn Barkley
got paid. Hug a Madison. Rough loss for Virginia Tech last night.
Yeah.
But I would say that's more about Carolina than it is Virginia Tech. Virginia, I think winning in the way they did, good for them last night.
Definitely.
They had to squeak out winning against Florida State, but argue those are evenly matched teams. But it appears they're going to get that elusive first round bye in the ACC tournament, which elusive first round bye. I mean, one more thing. The all ACC teams came out yesterday. In women's basketball, not just Rising Player of the Year was Hannah Hidalgo from Notre Dame. Defensive Player of the Year also was Hannah Hidalgo from Notre Dame. She's she's going to be the finalist for the Player of the Year. So this doesn't shock me. Westmore Coach of the Year. But looking at the first team, no Virginia Tech Hokies, but Sonia Critton I'm reading the Notre Dame player. Kamora Johnson of Virginia did make the first team of that, but no Hokies actually made the list for that. So that is the update on Player of the Year. The women's tournament obviously starts tomorrow or today. It would start today. It's the same as the men. So so we'll see how that shakes out. All right. When we come back, Bryson Gordon joins us talking all things Liberty next year on the Morning Warm-Up.
Mark Dalton here with Terry Subaru. Love to drive? Then you will love the all-new 2025 Subaru Wilderness family. These cars are built for adventure with symmetrical all-wheel drive, rugged capability, and legendary Subaru reliability. These stylish vehicles are ready for anything. Plus, every new Subaru we sell comes with an exclusive Terry Promise, a lifetime powertrain warranty. Visit us on Forest Road in Lynchburg or browse our inventory online 24/7 at terrysubaru.com. Terry Subaru. You'll love our cars.
When the thrill of playing ball turns into
All right, so how much?
windshield or
When do we come back?
Contact Apple Auto Glass. Your local auto glass repair shop on Allegheny
So,
Avenue in Lynchburg.
12
Apple
minutes.
Auto Glass provide a professional assessment
No,
with the
11
honesty
minutes.
from your neighbors, so you can get back to sharing the great moments this season.
When you're voted one of the best plumbers according to Lynchburg Living magazine, you want to hire the best. Sullivan Plumbing wants the best plumbers to join our award-winning team. Do you have a clean driving record? Do you have at least 4 years plumbing experience? Then you're a 5-star recruit, and Sullivan Plumbing would love to meet with you. Take the
I
first
just
step.
texted him.
Call Sullivan Plumbing in downtown Lynchburg, or email sullivanplumbing
I offered him
@gmail.com.
his normal time slot yesterday.
Welcome to the Villas at Oakwood, offered by Oakwood Villas Retirement Homes LLC, the best kept secret in Bedford. Our stunning community offers spacious, one-level modern villas with top-of-the-line amenities. Enjoy a walk through our landscape community, connect with neighbors in our clubhouse, and take in the views of the peaks. Visit thevillasokoakwood.com or contact Robin Lee Sage at 434-238-4477.
Yeah, 7. Okay. Oh, no, they do have the plan. It's 10:15.
Black
All right.
Rose, Mount Joy, Government Mule.
All right, cool. All right,
JJ
that's it.
Gray and Boat Pro. Need us to continue? Paul Coffin, the California Honey Drop, Larkin Poe. And that's just a handful of acts performing at Floyd Fest 25 Aurora, July 23rd through 27th at Festival Park in Florida.
Tech
Ticket
needs
prices increase
to win and Virginia to lose.
now at FloydFest.com. Winner of the Best Music Festival
Or,
acts to be
yeah.
announced soon for Floyd Fest 25
they're not
Aurora.
gonna be
Get your tickets
anything,
now
so.
at FloydFest.com before prices increase April 1st.
All-state agent Donovan Howell is now serving Lynchburg.
All right, why did
He
you
lives
add
and
a
works here just like
name?
you. And with all kinds of
On
local insurance advice, Donovan is someone you can count on to help you protect all that's good in your life. Donovan makes it easy to save on the quality protection you need, and he'll even help you do the switching and the paperwork for you.
Call or come by the Donovan Howell All-State office in Windhurst today.
Depressed about your favorite sports team? Well, VTRN Sports is presented by the perfect relaxing beach house vibe, Edo One Raw Bar on Church Street in downtown Lynchburg.
Good morning. We are just getting your day started here on VTRN Sports with the morning warm-up. Stay connected at Trey Lyle VT and Ty Tracy 90 on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Listen wherever you are with the VTRN Sports app or watch the show live on YouTube at youtube.com/VTRN Sports Lynchburg. Now, back to the morning warm-up.
7:25 on this Wednesday, March 5th. We are having some issues getting Bryson, so we may have to reconnect tomorrow. Ty will be giving him a hard time. Let's just put it that way. First off, so I sometimes check Twitter during break just because I need to stay it just in case news breaks. Apparently last night the Lakers broadcast compared the LeBron James's career to the Pelicans franchise as a whole, because the Pelicans, when they moved to New Orleans, they reset the records. So the Pelicans have had 23 seasons, 848 regular season wins, and 22 playoff wins, while LeBron's had 22 seasons, 1,000 wins, 183 playoff wins, which is kind of nuts to think about.
Yeah, doing better than a whole organization.
He's probably better than a couple organizations in his 22-year career.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so also my brain got corrected, and Virginia Tech would be the 10 seed playing the 15 seed in that dreaded Tuesday of the ACC tournament. The women's tournament kicks off today on Wednesday. Of course, as mentioned, Virginia Tech starts tomorrow. Virginia does kick off their ACC tournament today, 3:30. They take on Pitt, and if they win that game, they'll take on Cal. They'll take on Notre Dame. Hokies, if they win, they'll take on NC State. And Evan's going to lay this out for the Lady Hokies who are on the bubble. We're going to ask him about it at least, about what's their path to the NCAA tournament, and it's starting to look like a possible playing game for Virginia Tech in terms of getting in the ACC tournament. And against Georgia Tech, a team they've already beaten this year, a team that was ranked at one point this year. And it's going to be fun to see how it all shakes out. All right, let's talk about the games last night. Let's start with the winner. Virginia 60, Florida State 57. Day-Day Ames with another 18 points, 6 of 11 from the field. UVA hits their key number. They keep them under 60. All Florida State did cover, only by 1 point. I just needed one more foul. Come on, Virginia. But it's something in which you look at it. They're still improving. Day-Day Ames is a sophomore and is young. But a nice win for Virginia in that one. I think they needed it. I think getting that single bye is now a good goal. Andrew Rode and Elijah Sanders deliver a couple key three-pointers late, and they basically, they're going to probably get the first round bye, assuming they win on this weekend. Go ahead, Ty.
I'll say that Day-Day Ames has been playing really good ever since I think that 3-win streak I mentioned and everything. He has been playing. I think he's been scoring like number straight double-digit points ever since.
Yeah, absolutely. And sorry for that. I just good old sneeze this morning. Yeah, it's I think expectations, like, it's weird. Virginia will always have naturally bigger expectations than Virginia Tech. And once they've gotten kind of settled, I think they've reached their ceiling in terms of, I think you have to give Ron Sanchez a lot of credit. And Ty, you've seen this team up close. They truly, especially in this back half of the season, after that 5-game losing streak, I have to give this team a lot of credit because they started ACC play essentially 0-5. And they have come back to 8-11. So that means they are 8-3, 8-6 in their last stretch of ACC play, and you have to give them a lot of credit.
Yeah, and plus I'll give a lot of credit to Ron Sanchez. He really turned that team around. I mean, they was going through a lot of ups and downs, and a lot of people's losing faith on Ron Sanchez, thinking like, is he the coach for the job? And now he turned them around, especially late. Now it's like, everything's getting all tightened up, and everybody's on their full power to play March Madness football, basketball. So that's why I feel like UVA's really find their secret identity now, and I feel like they know what to do and how to play Ron Sanchez basketball.
Yeah, and you look at it, I would argue their only quote-unquote bad losses to Notre Dame. They lost to Virginia Tech in Castle by 1.
I don't think that's a
bad loss. You lost to Duke, North Carolina, and Clemson. Three of the best teams in the ACC. Like, two of those teams are definitely going to be in the tournament. Duke's the best team in the country. Like, so and we're going to move Bryson in tomorrow. Let's just say the snooze button was not his friend today. We'll leave it at that. And so we'll have Bryson tomorrow. We'll have Andrew Alex, I believe, tomorrow. I have to confirm that. But we'll get Evan Hughes in a matter of moments here, as he is joining the program for the first time, the voice of Virginia Tech baseball, Virginia Tech women's basketball, as he preps. This man, Evan, is a busy week. He had baseball last night. It's baseball today. Then he heads to Greensboro, the ACC tournament.
Jeez.
Then, depends on how long he's going to stay there. Tech wins. Let's say Tech beats Georgia Tech. Then he has a game. Be Thursday. Or, no, Friday. Then I think we'll have Giovanni Heater, who goes who's been Evan's backup, called a couple games with him, do the Friday Georgia Tech game for baseball. But then he'll do the two baseball games. So Evan is staying busy today, and it is a credit to him for squeezing as much time as he could for us, chatting about the two teams he gets to call. So at Evan K. Hughes. So yeah, well, Bryson and Andrew Alex on tomorrow. So let's dive right in. All right, we'll talk about it. North Carolina beat the brakes off of Virginia Tech last night. I think that's the best way to describe it. 91-59. Looking at the box score as we bring it up, obviously Toby Lawal didn't play in this one, so that hurts. It seems to me that with Jaden Young, you're going to get a really good game and then an okay game, and for his inexperience, that makes sense for this sophomore. But Ben Burnham gets 12, so this is the final game. Like I said, Carolina is a way more desperate team than Virginia Tech, and they shot the lights out of the ball. You shoot 60%, like I'm rounding up here. 59% from the field and 53% from three. You hit 15 threes.
Yeah,
it's just
they're letting it loose on them.
Carolina scored if Carolina shoots like that in the ACC tournament, they could win the ACC tournament. They could beat Duke on Saturday. Granted, I don't think they're going to beat Duke on Saturday, which you can listen to that game right here on BTR and Sports. But it's Duke Carolina, and I wouldn't be shocked. We I think Phil both and I kind of thought about this yesterday. Carolina's the more desperate team, and they showed it last night.
Yeah, they were kind of downplaying this game. I saw something probably on Twitter just talking about how they should even be calling the UNC Duke rivalry, and I don't know if UNC comes in, they had 4 double-digit scores, like I said, like 15 threes in the game. They come in playing like that against Duke. I think a lot of people around the country be a little surprised. It'd make for a shaky March, but that is March. So
and the thing Duke will deal with, and it's actually good prep for the tournament, is we're looking at Duke Carolina, and it's kind of the only takeaway you can take from a game where Virginia Tech gets blown out 91-59. I just don't want to take, at this point in the season with Virginia Tech, they're 13-17, 8-11. They turned around a really meek season, have I think it's as good of a conference schedule. Same thing with Virginia.
Definitely.
Both had meek starts to the season. Virginia more in ACC play than Virginia Tech in non-con. And to pull as much out as they did, I think you have to give them credit for that. So Duke Carolina on Saturday, right here on BTR and Sports. But today on BTR and Sports is some baseball. Yesterday, Virginia Tech defeated Norfolk State. I believe it was 13-0 in that one. And it was a nice win for Virginia Tech, 13-0. And you got a freshman pitching yesterday for Virginia Tech in Chase Swift who looked really good. He at one point struck 7 of the 8 batters he faced. So it's just that's pretty good to see because Virginia Tech in baseball, and we'll talk about this with Evan, as far as how good their pitching is, because they will have the offense, one of the best offensive teams in all of college baseball. So we'll talk about that with Evan. We'll also talk about Megan Duffy's first season with Virginia Tech and how Evan thought she did, and what is their outlook for the ACC tournament that's coming up next year on VTRN Sports right here on the morning warm-up. Is Evan Hughes. Philip, any final thoughts on UVA or Virginia Tech men's basketball last night?
UVA got a good one. UNC, you kind of said it. VT kind of reached their ceiling already. Just finished out how they could do. Definitely want to see where UNC goes, but I won't say expected, but it's March.
This is March. We sleep in May. Quickly, Virginia gets the win today against Pitt in women's basketball. I think so.
Yeah.
I think they'll set up to 7-10. All right. When we come back, Evan Hughes, the voice of Virginia Tech baseball, Virginia Tech women's basketball, at Evan K. Hughes, the pride of Rockville, Virginia.
We're joined by Randy Trost from Trost Law, and within the last year, Randy, there have been new laws that have come into effect in the Commonwealth of Virginia that impact motorists. What are some of the ones people need to know about?
From a personal injury perspective, the most important law that has changed as of January 1st, 2025 is now the minimum amount of liability coverage you can have in Virginia for an automobile is $50,000 per person, $100,000 per incident. So now that's the minimum. And along with that, we are seeing insurance companies offer the option to opt out uninsured, underinsured coverage. Absolutely do not opt out of that coverage.
You mentioned not opting out and the dangers of opting out of uninsured and underinsured coverage. How much of that is tied to a high number of people driving around that are not even registered to drive?
That's exactly right. We're seeing higher instances of people driving without insurance. And what uninsured or underinsured coverage does is protect you from those type of people that have no insurance. And if they cause a problem for you or your family, whether it's an injury or a property damage problem, and they have no insurance and you do not have enough uninsured or underinsured coverage, you could be left holding the bag with additional expenses that were no fault of your own.
Crucial info to know. Randy, thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
And if you've been impacted by someone in an auto situation, trostlaw.com and 777-HURT.
We are making it happen at the Used Car Superstore on the Sheeler Motor Mile, your premier used car dealer serving Southwest Virginia and surrounding areas for over 50 years with the best selection, value, finance options, and exceptional service. Plus 900 pre-owned vehicles all in one location. Volume selling means volume pricing, and we've got the volume. The Used Car Superstore is your one-stop for most makes and models. Cars, trucks, vans, SUVs. Many have miles in the teens, remaining factory warranties, and some are even local one-owner vehicles. Plus, Sheeler owns the finance company. Getting approved for credit is easy on the Motor Mile with finance options for every budget. 900 used vehicles in stock now. More than any other dealer in the area. Hurry in for straightforward pricing and more inventory arriving daily. Why wait? Make it happen at the Used Car Superstore on the Sheeler Motor Mile, your premier family-owned car dealer serving Southwest Virginia and surrounding areas for 50 years. I-81 exit 118C in Christiansburg. Call 866-SHEELER1. Always open at Sheeler.com.
When you're voted one of the best plumbers according to Lynchburg Living magazine, you want to hire the best. Sullivan Plumbing wants the best plumbers to join our award-winning team. Do you have a clean driving record? Do you have at least 4 years plumbing experience? Then you're a 5-star recruit, and Sullivan Plumbing would love to meet with you. Take the first step. Call Sullivan Plumbing in downtown Lynchburg or email sullivanplumbing@gmail.com.
Good morning. We are just getting your day started here on VTRN Sports with the morning warm-up. Stay connected at Trey Lyle VT and Ty Tracy 90 on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Listen wherever you are with the VTRN Sports app or watch the show live on YouTube at youtube.com/VTRN facebook.com/VTRN Sports Lynchburg. Now, back to the morning warm-up.
Good morning on this Wednesday, March the 5th. Trey Lyle here with you. Joining me now, and it is quite an honor to have this man with us. I mentioned him yesterday. He is truly one of a kind. He's truly, in my mind, a GOAT. Evan Hughes, at Evan K. Hughes on Twitter. Buddy, it's good to see your face this morning. Good to have you on. And I know I appreciate you squeezing in some time for me during a pretty busy week for you. A lot of baseball, a lot of women's basketball to call. So thanks so much. And how are you doing this morning?
I'm great. It's good to see you, my friend. For those that don't know, two of us, we go way back to our Hanover County days, and it's always fun when I get a chance to see you. You got a beard now. I mean, it's been a minute since I've seen you. It looks great. Congrats on the show, too. I'm so proud of you, and I'm honored that you'd have me on.
Yeah, we've known each other now for almost over 10 years now. So that's crazy to think. So let's dive right into some action. We'll go in order of when this is playing. Obviously, yesterday you were able to hear Virginia Tech baseball take on Norfolk State. They are playing again today with coverage starting, I believe, at 2:30 on our airways right here on the Virginia Talk Radio Network. Virginia Tech baseball off to a pretty solid start to the season. I think they've played a lot of quality opponents to start the year, but talk about this team in terms of their offense. It's been, the Hammer and Hokies ever since John Sheff has gotten to Blacksburg, but it seems to continue in that trend.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, entering the weekend, Virginia Tech was leading the country in doubles. They were top 10 in the country in slugging percentage. I find it interesting, Trey, there actually haven't been as many home runs hit through the first 3 weeks of the year that we're accustomed to. But the Hokies are still finding ways to get on base. And again, there's the argument that when you find the alley and you get those doubles and those triples, that can almost be better than home runs. So the offense is still really good. And I think that this is arguably the most depth from a position player standpoint that John Sheff has had in his 8 years at the helm. Even going back to the magical 2022 season, for the most part, that starting nine was that starting nine game in and game out. So, for instance, in the outfield, from Jackson Cherry, Trayson Hughes, Sam Tackett, Cam Pittman, you've got a lot of different options there in the outfield. And then, Nick Licurdo, a couple of young guys coming on. So you can really play the matchups pretty well with a lot of different left and right-handed hitters. And then even from a position group standpoint, Ethan Gibson's someone who's coming along right now. And, he's seen some time in the infield. Jared Davis has been outstanding in the leadoff spot. I think David Lewis, a guy who hit 20-plus home runs last year and a really good D2 in North Greenville, is coming on. And then I would put our catcher room up against anybody in the country, from Henry Cook to David McCann, and then Anderson French is a name you got to get to know now, a 6'5" left-handed hitting catcher. Those three are going to be knocking on the door to always being in the lineup day in and day out. So I don't envy Coach Sheff for having to pencil that lineup in every day. He's got options. And I think that the one thing, the difference of this year's lineup compared to others, is there's more speed and more opportunity to steal bags maybe compared to other years.
And obviously the Hokies will get as far as their pitching, and, we know the offense will be there. But talk about this staff, and if someone's kind of, unfamiliar with the Virginia Tech baseball team and unfamiliar with this pitching staff, who's a couple names to watch in terms of, producing this season?
Well, I think the story of the Tech baseball season through the opening 3 weeks has been the freshman pitching. And I say that saying that I know it's, March 5th as we sit here and talk, and there's a lot of baseball to go, and ACC play opens this weekend. But right now, it looks like Jake Marciano and Logan Eisenrich are going to be the Saturday, Sunday starters in the rotation. Eisenrich didn't go on Sunday, but I think, as the season progresses, he's going to be in that spot. I mean, you're talking about two guys, Trey, that have come in, and they have great electric stuff. Marciano's fastball, Eisenrich's slider, both sitting low to mid-90s in the fastball. They've been terrific, and they've pounded the strike zone. Marciano walked a couple of guys against Kent State on Saturday, but ended up throwing around 90 pitches, went through the lineup almost 3 times. I thought he had to deal with some adversity this weekend and overcame it, and that's going to be important for them going up against Georgia Tech this weekend, a team that's already won double-digit games and has Drew Burress and one of the top players in the country. But those two to me, and you think about it too, to take a step back, remember Virginia Tech is without Griffin Stig for the year, who is arguably one of the top players on this team as he's coming back from an injury. Griffin Green transferred out after rehabbing all of last year and was the Friday starter on the Super Regional team. So there's been, and then, the opening weekend of the year, Madden Clement, who was supposed to be, one of the top guys potentially in the rotation, he gets hurt. Coach Sheff has talked about it's good news. They hope to get him back later this year. So I bring all of that up to say that it's been fluid. And through all of the adversity and the ups and downs and guys being injured, I think Virginia Tech's got a really good rotation, obviously with Brett Renfro and then Marciano and Eisenrich. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how those 2 freshmen do. You got 3 underclassmen in your weekend rotation. Pretty cool to see the talent and the continued growth from those 3.
So looking at this, they're, obviously they have ACC play, and, once again, the ACC is loaded with baseball talent. They also still have really big non-conference games. My favorite part about college baseball is essentially every year you get kind of a round robin of all Virginia schools playing each other, whether it's VCU, Virginia, Virginia Tech, Liberty, Radford, throw into the mix. That's like one aspect of college baseball I like that we don't see in college football or college basketball as much as, both Virginia, Virginia Tech, Liberty, VCU, just to name a couple, are going to play a lot of area teams, a lot of teams within the Commonwealth. So what is this non-conference slate like? It's throughout the season, and then we can talk about the ACC in a moment.
Well, I think the non-conference is arguably the best non-conference that Coach Sheff has put together in his time here at Tech. And consistently, because the way it works is you get 3 non-conference weekends that lead up to the gauntlet of 10 consecutive ACC weekends. Consistently, he has shown that he wants to go out and play some of the top mid-majors, which I think is a great idea because you can be battle-tested for the ACC, help the resume, potentially play some conference champions that by the time you get to May looks really good on your resume. So, for instance, this year, Tech is playing ETSU twice, a team that won 36 games last year, almost won the Southern Conference. They won 2 of 3 against North Carolina Greensboro, who beat number 1 Wake last year, went on the road to a ranked NC State team, beat them, and then earlier this year, 2-hit shutout against 13th ranked Wake Forest. That's a really good team that I think very well could win the Southern Conference. And it reminds me of in 2022 when Tech dropped the opener to Wright State, and people are like, what's going on? Is everything okay? They win the next 2, and then all of a sudden, Tech's the number 4 overall seed in the NCAA tournament. And who's coming to Blacksburg for regional? Wright State, who won the Horizon League. UNCG is that good. I think it's that quality of a non-conference series. And then this past weekend, Indiana State has been one of the best mid-majors in college baseball for the last decade. Kent State's consistently near the top in the MAC. And then, of course, East Carolina is one of the best teams in the American, and that was like a true regional final on Sunday in Greenville. So anyways, Trey, we could go into the midweeks, and you're right, there's a healthy dosage of Virginia teams from Norfolk State this week to Radford, JMU, DU. Tech is really playing a lot, and then, of course, Virginia in ACC play. So they're going to get a lot of those Commonwealth. I just think this resume is going to look sneaky good. To the non-college baseball fan, you might look and see UNCG or ETSU or, Liberty. But trust me, those teams are really, really good. And I think it's a sneaky good schedule that's been put together.
Yeah, Liberty's already pulled off a couple of ranked wins this year. They beat Duke, for example. So Liberty's also a really good baseball team here in Lynchburg. One more question about baseball till we go to obviously the pressing matter of women's hoops in the ACC tournament down in Greensboro. You look at this team, and the ACC is loaded with really good teams. I mean, you could argue maybe outside the SEC, the best conference in college baseball. This is going to be a true gauntlet for the Hokies, but talking to Coach Sheff, how does he feel about his team heading into ACC play, which obviously kicks off this weekend?
I think the biggest thing for Virginia Tech right now is they're just trying to get like 100% healthy. I mean, mentioned that, Madden Clement's going to be a guy who's coming off an injury. They hope to get him back at some point. Cam Lejeune made his season debut on Sunday. He was a key transfer brought in who has starting experience, so they're trying to get him up and going. Henry, they've been ramping up off an injury. I mean, they're dealing with little pieces here and there, and that's something in all sports it's important, Trey, but I feel like more so in baseball. It's like you look back on the 2022 season that Tech had, nobody got hurt. 2023, Jack Hurley missed multiple weeks in the ACC season. Griffin Green got hurt that year. Carson DiMartini got hurt. I mean, so not trying to say it is a direct correlation, but truly, you're healthy, you're at full strength, you're gonna have a better chance to win. So I think that's the biggest thing right now, and they take it a week at a time. I think Virginia Tech, and I've been reading some articles that have, agreed with my thought. This is the toughest schedule potentially any team in the ACC is going to face. I mean, you've got North Carolina, Duke, Florida State. I mean, Virginia to close the year, who I think might be the best team in the ACC. The depth in this league is phenomenal. I mean, you bring in Stanford and Rentaro Sasaki and how good he is out on the West Coast. Cal's a team that can certainly win some games. Tech does not play those two teams this year, but it's going to be really interesting. And Georgia Tech is a really good team that's coming in this weekend. So Tech is going to be tested right away. And I look forward to it because for fans at English Field and for those listening on the Virginia Talk Radio Network this year to our coverage, you're going to hear a lot of the future stars in the game of Major League Baseball that are going to be heard on the airwaves because they play in the ACC.
And, of course, Friday coverage starts of that game at 3:30 right here on the Virginia Talk Radio Network. But today you are about to be in Greensboro for the ACC tournament. Coverage starts in a matter of coverage starts around 1 o'clock for this game, as it is a 1:30 tip. Or excuse me, that's tomorrow. Tomorrow on Thursday is my days are blending together.
It's all me too, Trey. What day is it? Me too.
It's Wednesday, so on Thursday, it says 1:30 tip, but as someone who's attended an ACC tournament, I'd never trust the tip times of after the first game because you never know what will happen. But 1:30 tip, 1 o'clock airtime right here on the Virginia Talk Radio Network on Thursday between Virginia Tech and Georgia Tech. In terms of it's the classic 8-9 matchup in the ACC tournament. And for the Hokies, they're in a very interesting spot. I think Megan Duffy has done a really, really good job this year maximizing what she could with this team. They finished 9-9 in conference play, and they're facing a Georgia Tech team that they beat earlier in the year that had a really good start to the season. Was it 15-0 before Virginia Tech beat them? They are, of course, on the bubble, which will be the big talking point throughout the ACC tournament. Where is this team at in terms of coming off a nice win against Clemson, heading into an ACC tournament where, they still have a lot of questions in terms of their postseason future up in the air?
I think this past weekend and the win against Clemson on Sunday was the biggest bounce back of the year. I think it's something that is not shown in the stats that you can find that this team, when they have lost this year, whether it's coming off of a 105-point 105 to 75 type final score to Florida State and then going on the road to Miami and coming back and winning, or just this team doesn't lose back-to-back all that often. And the Boston College loss was crushing. It really was. And I mean, it was a devastating loss. It really was. I mean, with the 10-minute delay, the ejection, to lose that in overtime, it was a gut punch. And for them to fly back home, get back early Friday morning, reset late in the year, go to Clemson and win. I mean, I think in a huge way that win saves the NCAA tournament hopes because now you're, like you said, you're firmly on the bubble. And reading ESPN bracketology and Charlie Cream, to me, it looks like, Trey, a win against Georgia Tech could go a long way. You've got 5 teams competing for 3 spots. Right now, you got 3 teams in the Ivy League projected in the field. I don't think that's going to happen. So I think that if Tech can beat Georgia Tech, a quality team that's been ranked, that has some great wins, I like their chances. If they can go down there and get 1, I think if you get 2, you feel exceptional. Now, on the other side of that, you got the number 1 seed, the co-regular season champions in NC State. But it is kind of fun to think that in a way, it just feels like this is almost like a playing game to get in the NCAA tournament a little bit for Virginia Tech. You feel really good with a win, with a loss. You're watching the bubble and you're really hoping for teams to lose or making sure that the teams that are projected to win their conference tournament win their conference tournament, so there aren't any bid stealers.
Feels like Hokie fans have been in this spot before. You have a coach who reaches heights we maybe have never seen, who leaves for an SEC school, gets replaced by, I think, a really good basketball coach, Mike Young, Megan Duffy, to be the parallels here, folks. And, the expectations in year one are, we'll see. I don't think the NCAA tournament is a goal for the team, but maybe for the fan base, not the expectation. And now we are on our way to a possible, again, surprise tournament appearance. And how do you think Megan Duffy has adjusted to being in Blacksburg in year one?
Incredibly. I mean, I think she should be talked about more for, being, coach of the year. I mean, I think everyone understands it, but to come in, first of all, able to keep some of the key players on this roster, like Carly Wenzel and Karis Baker and Mackenzie Nelson, Samaya Suffren, Matilda Eck, Rose Mishaw, right? They don't leave. And I don't think I can say this enough. The style of basketball from the previous staff to now is completely different, right? The previous staff was half-court sets, elaborate plays, really good plays drawn up. This is much more up and down, let the players, make plays and decisions on their own early in the shot clock, defensive intensity, diving on the floor for loose balls. And I think she has done an incredible job getting this team over the course of the year to play her style and getting like maximum effort out of like a Matilda Eck, right? Who last year was a stand in the corner, shoot a three. That was her role. I mean, Matilda Eck's got 24 assists over her last 5 games. She's more comfortable with the basketball. She has put, I think, just an amazing job both on and off the floor of instilling a great culture that is fun personally for me as the radio guy to be around every day. And that's just from my perspective, let alone from the players and the staff. I think Virginia Tech has a gem of a person, a gem of a coach, and I cannot wait to see how this next week goes. Because this is what you work for. It's the AC tournament, it's March Madness, and it's a testament to her and this entire team that they're in a spot to make what would be a program best 5th consecutive NCAA tournament.
It's truly remarkable at what Coach Duffy has done this year. And of course, the place you could have heard all of that is right here on VTRN Sports. You can catch, first game of the ACC tournament. We'll say coverage starts at around 1 o'clock because, as Evan knows, as I've known through a couple ACC tournaments, the first game could change everything in the day. And you never know what will happen. So we'll say coverage around 1 o'clock, planning 1 o'clock, hoping 1 o'clock.
We'll go on at 1. Will I be stalling and maybe talking a little bit longer than 30 minutes? Potentially, but we will be on at 1.
There we go. See, that's why this man is the best at what he does. At Evan K. Hughes on Twitter. Make sure you follow him. He's been tracking his journey as he's calling 7,000 sports at once. Evan, thanks so much for hopping in the morning warm-up this morning.
My man, thank you, Trey, and thanks to everyone at the Virginia Talk Radio Network for airing Tech baseball and Tech women's basketball. It's a treat to be on the airwaves there in Lynchburg and the surrounding areas.
Well, we have enjoyed it, and it's always good to hear a familiar voice, especially to me, a good friend of mine in Evan Hughes. So that will do it for today on the morning warm-up. Thanks so much to Philip. Thanks so much to Ty for being in this morning. Thanks so much to Bryson Gordon, and thanks so much to Evan Hughes. We'll be back tomorrow. Andrew Alex will join us on Thursday's edition of the morning warm-up.